Good morning. Today we are going to do slide and divide, which is what I introduced yesterday, after we have a GCF involved. Remember, always the very first step is to check to see if we have a GCF. And if we do, we need to factor or divide that out from each term. We've done GCF. You should have been doing GCF for years, so I'm not going to really get into showing the steps of how to find an identity factor, but you will need to check your numbers to see if there is one before you start. And this does get a little bit more complicated when you have bigger numbers. For example, for notes today, you'll see that number 4 is 40, 90, and 405. So it may take some work for you to come up with that GCF. So here we have 36x squared minus 72x minus a GCF of 4. And we did this the other day, but you're going to divide each of these three terms by 4 as your first step. And we always keep that 4 outside of our parentheses because that still is part of our problem. So 36x squared divided by 4 is 9x squared minus 72x divided by 4 minus 6 divided by 4, negative 16. We still have a coefficient of our x term that's not 1, so we are going to use the slide and divide method to help us factor this. We're going to take the 9 and multiply by our 16, which gives minus 18x minus 144. This lesson in particular, we start getting pretty big numbers as our C term. So finding the factors of 144 that add to 18, it does start to take a little bit more time, and I am not going to kind of break down those steps for you. We know how to set up the tables, you know, multiply to, that adds to negative 18. I am not going to go through that table on this because we know how to do that, and it's just something you're going to kind of have to fight with as you go for each problem as they get bigger and bigger. Calculators can help you. I am aware that I'm guessing nobody is in possession of their TI. There are other ways. I believe Desmos might have, Desmos does have, and I am going to have to look that up and post that information because that will be able to help you. So in this problem here, I have discovered that if I do 6 times negative 24, that gives me negative 144, and 6 minus 24 gives me my negative 18. So I'm going to set up my binomials as x plus 6 times x minus 24. And then because we did the slide and multiply, we also need to do the divide. Here we multiplied by 9, so I'm going to divide by 9. You can see that I'm still going to have fractions. We don't have sorry, little technical difficulties there. We don't have any, so we are going to need to reduce these fractions before we continue. And when we reduce, we get x plus 2/3 when we divide both of those by 3, and x minus 8 over 3. And now that our fractions are simplified, we can move our denominators. We do not like fractions inside our 4 times 3x plus 2 times 3x minus 8. And all of this here is your final answer. Number 2, we have 20m squared minus 74m plus 60. Here, our GCF is 2. So I'm going to divide all 3 of my terms by 2. We get 10m squared minus 37m plus 30. Again, we still have a coefficient of our x squared term that is not 1, so we need to slide and divide. I'm going to take my 10 and multiply. So 2 times m squared minus 37m plus 300. And then we're ready to use our easy factor. 2 times m minus 12 times m minus 25. So negative 12 times negative 25 gives me positive 300, and negative 12 minus 25 gives me negative 37. Then we can do our divide. We multiplied by 10, so we're going to divide by 10. Left with fractions, but we need to simplify, which gives me 2 times m minus 6 over 5 after we divide by 2, and m minus 5 over 2. Here I divided both by 5 to reduce. And scooch our denominators in front of our variables. So 2 times 5m minus 5. Number 3. We do have a GCF here of 5. So again, divide all 3 of our terms by 5. So we get 5 times 6x squared x plus 4. Multiply. 5 times x squared plus 25, x plus 24. And this one, oh, you know, this was one you might be able to start to find your factors without too much. Multiply to positive 24 and add to 25. And I've said this before, when you have the 2 positives, it's always easier. Well, right away, 1 times 24 is 24, and 24 plus 1 is 25. So we get x plus 24 and x plus 1. Then we multiply by 6, so we divide by 6. Here we're going to get an even number, 4. But here we're going to take our 6 and do our little scooch in front of our x. So 6x plus 1. Number 4, 40x squared minus 90x minus 405. Our GCF So divide everything here by 5 piece by piece. Our 5 comes along. We get 5 times 8x squared minus 18x minus 81. Slide and multiply. 5 times x squared minus 18x minus 8. I told you, some of these are going to start to get ugly. To re-look up how to do this on Desmos, and I'm going to show you because there is a way. So if you pull up Desmos on your, I have it on my phone right now because I can't do it on my screen and show my screen. So if you do y equals, it's actually a lot like we did it on the calculators. So y equals your number, which here we're looking for factor, multiply to negative 648 that add to negative 18. I don't know why I put my line there. So we're going to have one positive factor and one negative factor. That gives us a negative number. So what was it? 648. So I'm going to put 648 divided by x. And that's exactly what we did on. I'm going to hit that little button up there, and I want to go to this table. And this is going to give me my factors that multiply to 648. Please keep in mind that it is not taking your signs into account. These are positives. Now, they're only giving me factors from -2 to +2. None of these, if I add them up, are giving me -18. So what I can do is I can come to that and I can hit the enter button. And now I have 3 times 216, 4 times 164, 5, we need even numbers, that's not an even number, 6, and you need to, as you go, you would, if you need to transfer them to another spot, you can. This is not giving me -18. And so down and down, you may need to test every one. Look here, I have 18 and 36. 18 times -36 gives me negative 648, and 18 minus 36 gives me negative 18. So our factors for number 4 are x plus 18 minus 36. We multiplied by 8, so we're going to divide by 8. We're going to have fractions still, but I'm going to reduce first. I get x plus 9/4 and x minus 9/2. And then we just do the little scooch with our denominators, so that our final answer is 5 times 4x plus 9 times 2x minus 9. Number 5, 50v squared plus 135v plus 90. Our GCF here is 5. There is also a way to find your GCF on Desmos. Google it. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I think you can type, sorry, I don't use my calculator very often. I don't know how to get I mean, I don't use my phone for Desmos very often. Do GCF, where's parentheses? What are our numbers? 50, 135, and 90. Yep, there you go. GCF is 5. So divide 5 times 10v squared plus 27v plus 18. We need to slide and multiply. 5 times v squared plus 27v plus 180. So again, factors of 180 that add to 27. These are both pluses. If 5 times v plus 12 and v plus 15. So 12 times 15 is 180. 12 plus 15 is 27. And then we're just going to divide by the 10 that we multiplied by. Here, no even numbers, so I'm going to reduce my fractions. V plus 3/2, and then scooch my denominators. 5 times 5v plus 6 times 2v plus 3. Number 6, 45x squared minus 70x. GCF here is 5. So dividing every term by 5, I get 5 times 9x squared minus 170x minus 8. Still have a coefficient here that I need to get rid of by sliding and multiplying. 5 times x squared minus oh, I see what I did wrong. That's 34x minus 72. I didn't divide there. So factors of negative 72 that add to negative 34. 5 times x plus 36. That's not right. X minus 36. Shoot. Minus and x plus 2. Okay, where am I? All right, so now I'm going to divide by 9. And this is going to be even. This is not going to be even, but I can't reduce 2/9, so I get to leave it as it is. I get 5 times x minus 4, sliding my 9x plus 2. And that is slide and divide factoring after factoring out a GCF.